Welcome to Invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. As the record time of 12:44 p.m. on Eastern Time on Feb 2nd on Thursday. Hope you guys had a great week so far and happy February. Respect to Ethereum $100,679, up about 2.31% so far. On the overall crypto market and the equity market, as we are digesting and reflecting on the FOMC meeting that happened yesterday on the 1st. And obviously the FOMC meeting durates from the 31st of Jan all the way to Feb 1st. And the result of the meeting was a progressive one, right? We understand that the Fed has raised rates by a quarter point, so 25 basis point this one compared to the last one, which was 50 basis point, and the previous quadruple ones were 75 basis point. So it seems like we are, slimming down slowly and slowly and slowly. However, with respect to Jerome Powell's verbiage, it was, despite it does show a progressive signal to the market, we are still going to be relatively cautious, saying that we expect a more of an ongoing increase of rates going forward to really trash the water accordingly, right? But with respect to the 25 basis point and combined with a lot of positive earnings that we've seen across the spectrum, in the recent time frame, and obviously with respect to the secondary factor that we've seen a while back 2 Fridays ago on the positive job numbers, it propels the market to go upward from here, right? So now it's driving this bullish momentum across the spectrum, driving companies like Meta, Align Technology, Coinbase, Eli Lilly to all pump up from here. And if you look at the equity side right now, just like take a look at on the market front, we have 416 right now, which is way exceeding the level of technical resistance. We are basically breaking the first level of resistance, which was 412. And if you want to be more precise, like basically 407 to 412 would be the level. And you can see that we are lingering on in between right now. But you could see that with respect to the equity market, we are at 70 out of 70. So very, very running very hot. Seems like the bullish reversal in a bear market is fully in play. But is this a real bull reversal? That's something we kind of have to understand, right? And based on what we've been looking at together so far, the daily is very extended. The weekly, it is, although forming a reverse head and shoulder, is quite elongated, right? With the 60 out of 70, and also at the same time, we are going to be reaching to a level of blockade at 417 coming up. So what that really means is that we need to kind of cool back down a little bit more before we run up from here. Reaching rocket sky high is not going to be a healthy proposition for the overall market. So that's something we have to be cautious about. Okay, so take a look at the news front before we dive into the technical. Obviously, as I mentioned, the Fed raised rates by quarter points, expect ongoing increase. But if you look into more of a direct, latest news, you could see that with respect to the overall market, S&P up 1.4%, Nasdaq up 3%, Russell up 2%, VIX is relatively low. And with respect to Meta, the share has been rocket 25% on pace for best day in a decade. And I personally actually did some trimming on Meta because of the fact that the propelment seemed relatively, too quick, too soon. So I decided to trim some off of the, just like for, profit taken, but also because it's the logical move, which I'll dive into that in a bit. In addition to that, you can see that with respect to other news, you can see that Coinbase also jumped 20% after the federal security suits dismissed. And all the other ones seems like just a lot of positive news across the spectrum. But today, after the market closed, Alphabet says to report fourth quarter earning results, which again is talks about historicals. And then also all the other ones are still lingering on, right? Amazon's reporting earnings as well. Force is also reporting earnings as well. Across the spectrum seems positive, right? So let's take a look at also what the whales have been doing so far, shall we? We've been taking a look at on BlackRock and ARK Invest recently. So with respect to BlackRock, it was definitely a sell day yesterday, but also a relatively massive green day yesterday as well if you look into it. But I would say it's definitely more a green day yesterday for BlackRock, and also for ARK Invest. Let's take a look. ARK Invest was a little bit more cautious. It was definitely more of a sell day compared to a buy day yesterday. Interesting. So let's take a look at the technicals now with respect to recording time of 12:49 p.m. on Eastern time. So I have about 10 minutes away from my next meeting, as you can hear the bells ring just now on my phone. We are quite extended, I would say, on the daily. You could see that we're about to cross up. So seeing some short-term pump would not be a surprise for us. We are very elongated. It does look like we're forming a cup and handle. This is a cup. This is a handle. We are at 1678 right now. So what we need to do is, firstly, we are seeing some short-term reversal because of the cross-section that we're forming, a golden cross that's about to be formed upward from here. And that will allow us to kind of reach to a level of 1750 all the way to 1850 possibly. But that's about it. We need to kind of cool down before we go up from here. So the elongation, the extension is probably too hyped for our tasting in a risk management perspective. On the weekly, you can see that we're also very extended. 55, large separation in between. Monthly is very bullish, but with respect to daily and weekly, these are, we should be investing with high caution at the moment. Bitcoin is doing a relatively more of a stale move. We're not moving up or down. We're just like at sticking around 23,500, up 1%. On the daily, we are about to form a golden cross as well, but it's relatively minimal. But we're at the 75 out of 70, so that means the cross section upward is not going to be that elongated. So it won't be a big pump, but you will see maybe some short-term green pressure, but coming back down will be more likely, knowing the fact that we're very extended on a daily. Weekly is also very extended, and the monthly is looking quite consolidated, so that's a good thing. But what this really means is that as we digest the market a little bit more, we should ideally see some short-term volatility in Q1 downward until we go back up in later Q2, Q3. Excuse me. So with respect to other stocks, let's take a look at Tesla, which is up 7% so far. We're forming a golden cross on a weekly. On a daily, very extended. Holy Jesus. Very extended, so I would not suggest buying in at all so far. We are very, very elongated. Very dangerous at this proposition to be bought at the moment right now. Weekly is, although showing some signs of green pressure, but the week's out is going to be a little bit more mitigated. So I would say it's kind of a mixed signal. Week's out is positive because it is underappreciated. And but the daily, it is a little bit too elongated for my tasting. So I would kind of wait for this to cool off a little bit more before we run up, right? Also on NEO front, we are seeing relatively similar fashion. Daily look quite bearish at the moment. We are extended, but not like a significant amount with the 60 out of 70. So seeing a cross down eventually to come down to maybe the low 1150 level would be likely. And then with respect to the weekly as well, you could see that the large separation, we are getting blocked right now. So it seems like NEO is kind of getting glided. It's gliding on a sideways fashion, quite muted in comparison to Tesla because NEO is a Chinese company. And Chinese stocks are a little bit more muted due to obviously the geopolitical tension, but also Q1 is typically more muted as well due to the Lunar New Year's. And last but not least, let's take a look at Meta together, just so we can reference check on the up 25% momentum that we're seeing today. You can see that on a weekly, very extended. On the daily, even more extended. We at the 90 out of 70. So I took some trimming off the table. It's for the right thing to do. And you could see that right now we at the 193, which is a next level of resistance. So whenever you see something like this, it's best to kind of take things off the table, which is what I did. So I took like 40% of my holding off the table today, just for safety purposes. So daily and weekly are quite risky. Monthly, it is looking like it's a bullish reversal, but it's too quick too soon. So we need to see some red candles before we run up from here. Okay. So appreciate you. Have a good day, and hopefully this is a quick one on the recap on everything that has happened so far. But let me know if you have any questions. All right. Appreciate you. Take care.